let's get started. Um, I'm gonna share my screen. Which one is? Can you see it, guys?
Yes.
Alright, let's not waste time. We have a lot to go through in hybrid.
Is SSN on hybrid already decided?
Which Hilbert and SSN?
Hilbert, I think, fits very well in hybrid. SSN, I'm not sure if I prefer him on damage dealer or hybrid.
Okay. Oh, I thought it was like kind of automatic to put him in hybrid, but I mean that makes sense. We kind of locked hybrid for now, but maybe we can revisit. I know Dark and myself want
I mean,
hybrid.
thematically speaking, like consider the again different criteria weightage
Yeah,
on trait receptance. Yeah,
it does
I
have
know,
the
I was just more curious than anything else.
yeah. I think it's good to start with. That's fine. So maybe we can start with Hilbert since he's probably the top one from those.
Yeah, he's easily the best one.
Yeah. But how best? Like Uber, S plus?
Well, it's kind of hard because he has a lot of on-type stuff, but he is on-type on 5 different types.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's quite a lot to be honest.
Yeah. Off-type, he is quite strong, but not quite uber strong for off-type, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it still provides like the drops and stuff like that. I mean, it's still fair to use on off type, but considering you have 5 different types already, that's like 1/3 of the types almost. So not too bad. Do you have any input, Ryan? You want to share?
I think the difficulty with SS Hilbert is that he's not a traditional facilitator. He is much like stuff like Grimsney Leash, more of a build around, more of a very
Yeah, for
PP based
himself.
unit without much, for himself, and a lot of his meat comes from coverage on type stuff. His utility is there, but again, it's not highly facilitative utility, more than like side dish, side quality. But like even relative to Cynthia, which you mentioned as kind of an indicative range at least, because more offensively inclined,
Yeah, not really.
a more offensively inclined
I didn't mean that for the
hybrid.
range, but for the like comparison in terms of what the unit is, like kind of.
And like even for something like Maxi as well, like a lot of
Yeah, I think.
Maxi's facilitation, like the whole mind game is very PP based. So I think Maxi is kind of like the closest association I can make, as well as how Maxi has transitioned into more of a offensive rather
Yeah,
than
especially
facilitative
since
role.
ground zone.
With
Yeah.
ever since
So
Colony came out, he's kind of been.
we would be leading S plus kind of.
I think it's fine to lead him with S plus here. I think it's awkward to kind of, from a at least independent standpoint, to have him even noticeably lower than something like Hilda.
Yeah.
Like Hilda will be like higher traditionally, but criteria difference means that there is a bit of a harsher range on what they can do. Because what do you think, Ropal? Actually, I think this is what I do, but I'm not sure if it's indicative or not.
No, I think that spot is fine. It's just, it's kind of hard for me to decide between his own type stuff and his off-type stuff because he has a lot of coverage, so he's not like most other pairs in that sense. One thing that I don't see being mentioned much, but I think is a weakness, is that his kit is quite busy because he set up
No, I do agree. 100%. Yeah.
like just his self buffs are fine, but he also has the SPDF drops to do, so
Mm. Yeah,
he
he has
takes
to
a
do.
bit to get going.
If you want like
Well,
full
it's
usage
harsher
of his kit, he
for
has to do like
Spark.
2 TMs, 2 direct plus, the speed of drops, the. So I agree. I
Whereas
mean,
Team
you
Shop
have a lot of
entry,
gap
so it's
filling
like
options,
one.
of course, but
Whereas Team Shop entry, so he kind of narrows it down there. But like, I
yeah.
mean, as Brandon exists, I don't think Ropal is as concerned as far as
No, of
facilitation
course,
goes.
but I think it's a fair point to raise. Like, Gloria and SSMA would buff themselves faster and pretty much setup. He has that aspect. It's actually I like the association with Maxi. They, they share similarities. Technically, he's a bit faster to buff himself, but you know.
I mean, Maxi is a better facilitator along with
Yeah.
pressure, whereas like Hilbert is more of a more powerful offensive machine. But with, I mean, it's most of
Yep.
his facilitation is I think the thing about rebuff as well is that it's an on type rebuff. And sometimes it can feel redundant. Like not that it's not powerful, but it can feel redundant because on type and everything.
Yep. Well, I guess
Yeah, I think
let's start with that.
uh,
That's fine.
yeah, I think at least the red subgroup is pretty easy to get. It's just the order, I think, might be discussed, but I think leading the tier is good.
Yep. What I want to discuss, since we're gonna add a new tier, and he joins there, and I think maybe not everyone agrees, but Wally is good. Don't get me wrong, but he didn't perform as highly as, like, let's say Aniskaila, says Cynthia. Do would you put him at the start of S instead, considering
I think he's much closer to May
Yeah, I agree.
than
That's why I'm wondering.
I think it depends because remember your appraisal on, SS May, and it doesn't have crit, but most of the utility is there. Similar to Skylar, but I guess she's not as consistent as Skylar as a generalist unit, but
Yeah,
like she
Skyla
still has ramp, she still
can.
has speed.
If even if you ignore zone, like she would do good stuff for
I think
anyone. You know
N
what I
should
mean?
drop more than Wally, but that's just me.
Maybe both could drop. I wouldn't, I wouldn't mind at all. Uh, I think Wally is closer to drop for me, but I could see both dropping.
Yeah, I think both should drop because not to say that it's not strictly indicative, but I do feel that despite N getting a new partner in Hilda, it's not that I think he has kind of fallen off a bit in terms of because he's much like what we talked about with Gilbert. He's a very offensively based unit, but he is reliant on foreign sources to do things for him rather
Yep.
than he can play facilitator standalone. But most of his builds, like the nuke build in place of blue flare, are relying on foreign sources. So he's a more reliant unit that gives more value for that, but also compensates with things like Pep Rally, Gauge XL.
Mhm. I think honestly, I like this separation better, like the cut on S plus and going from there. It looks fluid to me. What do you think, Ropalme?
I think it's cool. I also think like N is on the edge of both tiers, but
Mhm.
probably S is better than S plus for him for now.
Okay.
Not sure.
What for
I
Annie
mean, we
and
can, since there are gonna be distribution arrangement, that might shifts a little bit or closer to the top or end of each tiers. So as long as we kind of agree with the order, we can adjust once we get a big picture on the list.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to add something on those units that we've kind of discussed already? I know, not everyone is satisfied with the order specifically, but any big shifts you'd make?
I mean, it's mostly
Uh,
the fact that May is detached with Bianca by subgroup, but that's it.
Yeah,
Everything else is
which
fine to me.
we
I think
know. Yeah, yeah.
I
Fair
think
enough.
it's fine. Maybe Rosa could be on S minus, but I think it's better we go with how S minus will actually look.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. I don't think she needs to cut down, but I agree she would be the one on the verge of dropping if that was necessary. Okay, how do we proceed? Because um, so those one would be leading S minus. Do we straight up go with the following ones? Do we start considering Lysander Getsis?
let's talk about Lysander first.
Sure.
I think, because like I'm quote unquote knowledgeable with Lysander and was kind of really hyped for his post buff. I think the most accurate place to put Lysander would be sandwiched between Grimsley and Deoxys Speed, because these three pairs belong in a group where they have quote unquote everything. They have offensive pressure, they have utility, they have defensive utility, while um, Steven is easier to slot onto teams because his utility is more easily used. While what Lysander mostly gains from his great expansion is that he's a lot more self-sufficient.
Mhm.
He has a lot more bang for his buck, but he's also not really something that facilitates the team like Steven as well. Steven
Mhm.
is a mostly utility unit, but has offensive pressure, has tank ability like Lysander, but is easier to slot. Whereas Grimsley is like mostly tunneling into the offensive
For
builds with the
me,
Manopus gimmick.
Steven is kind of uh, strictly better than both. Like, something would be something like this if we were to but listen there around that range. But I mostly agree with your like reasoning. Ropalme, you're probably not as high on Lysander.
Oh, I actually can see him there because he improved a lot both offensively and defensively.
I agree.
Mainly offensively, I think, because his sync nuke can get pretty good.
Mhm.
He can do some flying zone dual striking now because that's something that flying zone always struggled. It's not great, but it works. And even on stuff like Legendary Gauntlet, uh, it's much easier to tank because one
Yep.
thing that I disliked about Lysander was his TM dropping his defenses when he wanted to tank, but
Mhm.
now it
I think
boosts.
downside about it
So
is quite significant because, like, again, you can now run head start on him and get a strictly excellent value from his TM. Like, head start plus 2 TMs is what? Max crit plus 2 defenses, ram twice, skip skew on his own. So that's also kind of an important change.
Um, no, I'm good with that range. I mean, I've always appreciated Lysander like tool set of he can do various stuff, whether it's tanking, flinching, and now he has a proper sync nuke with EX striker effect, which is not something we have there. It's like Maxi, I guess, which is not sync nuke, but yeah. So you'd put it both above Grimsey?
Yeah, I put him above Grims because Grims isn't really a tank. He's a decent short term tank, but long term he doesn't really work. Because like he has quote unquote better offensive pressure, but like it's mostly like screech flinch, metal burst. While Lysander has does more. I think Lysander is also easier to slot on a team because he gives value to the team, while Grimsley kind of does his own thing. Like Like Lysander can tank, Lysander can ramp. Like whereas Grimsey's like, oh, I'm doing my own thing, but my offense is so great that any team will get the benefit from it, but not in multiple facets. If that makes any sense.
I agree, and even offensively, like Oblivion Wing is much stronger than Ironhead. I think even with the drops, I'm not sure, but I think Oblivion Wing might out damage.
Cool. I mean, I like it. I like it.
I mean, the only issue I see with Lysander is like his grid is still pretty expensive. He can't take everything he wants at the same
Yeah,
time, but he has
that's always an
diversity in how
argument
he
that
wants
I
to build.
don't like too much because it's kind of confusing. A grid being expensive and a grid providing several different options. And I think in Lysander case, it's mostly that. And you're not forced to tank with
Well, I'm
him.
just
You can
kind
go
of
full
saying
in
Yeah,
on
I don't
offense.
think Lysander can't get everything, but he doesn't suffer
Yeah,
from
that's
not
what I
getting
meant.
everything at the same time.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I'm just being devil's advocate there.
Yeah, that's fine. But let's not find weaknesses where there aren't really. You know, it's fine. I think the placement is cool with me. And since we know we have quite a busy agenda, let's settle with that. That's fine. How do we approach the next year then? I assume you would want Getsis to go up, all in all. So where do you
Can
want
I
him?
talk about? Can I talk about chorus first? Because I
You
think
can.
chorus is way too low for what
Wait,
because the
Chorus
thing
is
about
wait,
chorus is
wait, give me a second. Chorus is not ranked. Just so you know.
I know, but like there is the kind of this thematic of okay, that's where you estimate him to go. Whereas I think okay, so I
No,
mentioned it
not
now
really.
because
Can be there. I don't care. It's fine.
right. So let me explain. So I'm mentioning chorus now because I see parallels with Lucian and mine that he is a stat dropper with excellent gauge. Like he has infliction freebie, which means like he has about up to 6 free moves. He has gauge XL, um, and he all in all is kind of similar to them, except he lacks the DPS and he lacks quote unquote reliable scaling because his offensive stats or his offensive builds aren't excellent. But he also gives team wide crit.
Yeah,
His
but
other option
being similar to them doesn't mean he should be ranked with them.
Yeah, but what flaws do you see technically? Like
Just to correct you,
technically, Lucian also isn't DPS centric.
infliction freebie doesn't need the move to be successful, so you still get the free moves even if the opponent is at -6.
Oh, that's even better then, because you know it's completely free. Like he costs no gauge to do what he wants at all, except when he's mirror shotting, which I guess his main flaw is okay. I have to juggle between so much, right?
Yep.
Although I think Screech is his better use anyway. Like I do think he is similar to Lucian too.
Oh, he
If you
plays
value
very
Lucian, I think you will
similarly.
value Chorus.
Yeah, I agree with that. But how high? My main issue is like how like it doesn't
You're
feel
talking
like
about paralysis as well, right?
it doesn't
Because he also
feel
has gold.
like you know, very specific comps. Like he's there. He's good at what he does. Also, I would like to mention the buffing profile. You do mention Gouge a lot. I agree, he's like insane Gouge facilitator, but there is a difference between those two bringing actual speed buff, which plays into like ramming speed pairs, inertia pairs. I mean, well, you might want to nuke with them anyways, but you know, ramming speed mostly, stuff like that.
Like I'm not saying they should.
They generate gauge and Chorus does not use gauge.
Yeah,
Chorus don't necessarily generate more. But I think like he still is really close to Lucian because he does the buff better than him. He
I
gets
mean,
the -2 instead of.
Screech AoE is unprecedented, I believe. So I agree. Like it's pretty huge.
Yeah, and he has go viral 9 paralysis. You mentioned paralysis like when we were kind of
Yeah,
talking
totally,
about
totally. I was
yeah.
totally accounting for that. Yeah.
And the team might crit as well, like from his paralysis passive. That's also kind of big.
Oh, I
Like he
forgot
buffs
about that.
crit
You're
as well as
good
the
point. Good point. Yeah, yeah, I did forget about that.
that's pretty big as well.
I agree.
I think yeah, putting him with Lucian and Amai
So
is
you guys
most indicative for
actually,
me.
I mean, I was just, kind of being reserved, like, because I assume a lot of people won't really get this pair and don't understand what he does. So I wasn't expecting him to go that high, but the association is
Fellow
totally
colorist sim here, so I guess yeah.
okay. Fair enough.
I mean, you can detach them by subgroup if you want, but like as
Oh, I
long as they
mean,
sit side by side, it's
I'll
fine by
see
me.
about the subgroup, but fair enough.
Prefer them on the same subgroup. Like the only thing that I could see changing on the tier on A is actually like switching the subgroups themselves. If you prefer the fairies and Steven
Yeah.
over the
hmm
debuffers or not, but I think
Which historically
those
Ryan
three
and
are
myself,
grouped.
yeah, historically Ryan and myself do prefer this type of sync pairs to those, but I totally see them like completely switching around. I agree with you. Like it's either you prefer this profile or this profile. It's kind of whatever how you place them. Uh,
I think those three are always grouped together. It's just which
yeah,
type of unit do you prefer?
yeah, I agree. So what
I mean,
about
before we make that decision, we need to talk about Getsis as well, right?
that's what I was about to
Because
say. So go ahead.
um, like if Ropal remembers, I think one of the criticisms that Getsis was given was that his setup was not particularly desirable prior to getting his expansion. Like Getsis changes the least with his expansion,
Well,
but
his
technically
grid
it kind
does
of
fix
solves a
that
lot of his
aspect.
problem.
It
Yeah, it
does.
makes him set up extremely fast, like +4, +3 in 2 turns. And if you take half pyramids, +6, +3, he gets an MGR9, he gets his EX, which
I think
means
it's a
his nuke
great
is incomplete
improvement.
shit.
Like it doesn't change the pair, like quite literally what he wants to do and how we're gonna
Yeah,
use
it
him,
doesn't, but then the
but it just makes
QOL
him
is
more
still.
fluid.
Yeah, so the question is how fluid, right? So I think my benchmark initially was mostly referencing him to again to DON because gets this much like SSU, but is again a lot of the time you use it for the PP. Like he can facilitate, but most of the time you use him for his damage. Like you won't use him for paralysis that often, even though he can do it. You won't be using him for noble roll that often, outside of like any N or Iris Turbo comps.
Mhm.
But I associate it because they are kind of disruptive stat drop pairs with offensive pressure. Like Steven has the disarm with flinch. Getsis has noble roll, which is better at debuffing, but he also has DOE freeze. His offensive pressure is better, and his gauge is also a lot better. So it's easier to kind of use him now, even though he can be synergy dependent.
Yeah,
Which I think the pairs in that subgroup are all synergy dependent anyway. But he's
but
a more
I
independent
like
sim.
him around this range regardless, like within that group of pairs, kind of.
I think he's the worst of. He's worse than the fairies
hmm
personally. I think he's easier to use now. It's more fluid, but the pair itself is still pretty much the same. So I think the quality of life separates him from Signa Sweet Leaf, but I don't think it makes him better than the Oxys or the fairy units. Especially because like his Sync Nuke got better with EX, but the speed drop multipliers are annoying because he wants the Noble Roar to get back in order
Yeah, it's
too.
still more complex to. Uh,
I mean, it depends on the comps, right? Because at least for me, there are
that's the point.
multiple ways to for him to do that, like you can use like most commonly like Signasuda Lisa is his best partner now, and then you have my standard gets his price comps. Even new SSN can kind of form a core with him, right? With the similar kind of facilitation. I think this is where Ropa and I differ. I think he's better than all three. Simply because I see him as more useful in the long run, and at least relative to Serena, who is completely carried by her partners, like does have autonomy and has facilitation and better sufficiency over her. And that's how I see it, at least.
Okay, that's noted. I think I'm not quite sure yet on my own judgment. I think I do still prefer Marnie in general, in regards to like Getsis, for example. Not sure about those two, but kind of pointless to separate them at the moment. I don't see him passing DON, so it's mostly about the fairies, which will get input from Dark. So I'm noting that in the notes, and it's kind of fine, to me, seeing it this way. Like you see, you could have this subgroup and switch them around. And then
I
don't
did
know.
want like a slight bump for DON. If I had subgroup, I think I would put Masked until Chorus, Steven alone, and then the fairies and Gates.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was about to do, unless maybe grouping chorus with. And it's just that it's weird to have a. But if it's representative, I think that's fine. Like.
I'm not the biggest fan of DON. I think the value he gives is very limited for what he's supposed to. I think, yeah, I always associate it more with like Signasude Leaf as more. I do a lot of things, but I don't do a lot of these things well. At least
Oh
his
no, I think
qualities
he
are more appreciated.
does
I actually started
very
because
well
I know
the debuffs and flinch.
Yeah, I know Ropalme is pretty always been higher on him than us. And, I always play with.
Yeah, but like that's all he does.
Let me finish, please.
Technically.
I always play speed, so I tried a little more normal one. Basically on MM, he does the same thing as Bianca for me because just I have head start on him, so he does complement that, and then he pops the Tyrann, and the team's wrecked the stage. But obviously I don't have 3-5 to use more of the utility stuff, and that Ropalme is mentioning. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, 3-5 is where you get disarm, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Doing placements.
I'm not a hill I'll die on, quite honestly, but the range is overall indicative.
I'm gonna just take notes, and I don't have a strict opinion. I just want those three to lead, and then I don't really have strict opinion on those. So for now, I'm gonna leave it at that. And
Actually, what do you think about the Eevees?
I think they are gonna be pretty underrated by people in general, because they don't have X or whatever. I don't know what people would think, but I think I like them a lot personally.
It's difficult. I mean, I think one thing we have to consider is that just because they have no EX doesn't mean that they're bad. Especially since
I know that's
considering
what
what
I
EX
just said,
does.
right?
Like I believe I mentioned that like Chris deals more damage than an EX Elisa.
Yes.
So that's kind of crazy for a non-EX
No,
player.
that's we're
I
just
think
saying
like
the same.
the Eevees all look better than Gates, for example, because their setup is actually quite easy.
If you want my
And they skill pretty
strict
hard,
first
yeah.
impression, I think I like them all more than this subgroup. I'm not.
I think they could go even higher than that.
I was saying
depends.
at the minimum, because one thing that people are kind of overlooking as well, or maybe I'm just assuming some stuff, but whatever. They all bring their own, team buff, while possessing great nuke themselves that brings the weather as well. I don't know. They're just made very fluid and good. I don't know what
Not
to say more.
all of them, because like for instance, Lyra
I
is the
think
most diverse, but Lyra also has the least self-sufficiency. But I do agree with Lyra sitting highest because
I
Lyra
think
does the most
that would be
things.
my order personally, but I'm not sure if you
The
want
same
to
order.
list those two.
Lucas has the AoE SPDF drops with
Yeah.
Heat Wave.
I don't think you should put them together just for the sake of putting them together.
I
think we need
didn't say
to
that. I just ordered them between themselves. Just to be clear.
yeah. So yeah, technically the order should look like this, but as to where scattered around, we kind of have to think about it first.
Yes, for sure. But to me, it's
So I think
minimum
like
there, and I think even Karen I don't like as much, and I don't know about Leaf.
I do think Lyra is similar to Leaf in that again they're kind of like do-it-alls, not necessarily.
I think Lyra is the strict like leading A pair for me.
You think he's better than Leaf?
Yeah,
I do.
I do.
Fair enough. Yeah,
But they could be together.
I think it's better for to put them together. Yeah.
It's better than Leaf too. I don't think like Lucas lags behind.
I would
Lucas
put
is kind of
Lucas there
weird because
personally.
it's a lot of what Lucas does is again the Spadef drop, right? And everything
Oh
else
And
yeah,
he
but
does
he's also
is
the best burner in the game, which sure burn itself is not the best
I mean mostly
animation.
buffs Leon and well it buffs three things: Hilda, Leon, and Anian. Like they all
Well,
appreciate burn to some
that's kind
extent.
of big considering Leon as one of the highest potential in damage. Hilda probably don't really need it, let's be honest. And Anian does appreciate this help greatly. So those are impacting like relevant meta units, I would say. Um,
I
I
mean I
mean,
guess
I
we have
strictly
to think
prefer him to
about
Karen, so that's all I can say.
no like I think you can put them ahead of the I think another question we need to ask is should they go higher or is this as high as they go? Because at least for
I mean, to be fair, is Getsis better
Lucas,
than all of them? Just to get on that point, maybe.
that's why I wanted to bring them up before we finalize it, talking about
Yeah,
Getsis.
that's fair.
Because I think there is some potential. They aren't strictly better, but not strictly worse either.
Maybe like again, I'm higher on Lyra than the others, so maybe Lyra could join him, but the rest stays behind. Something like this.
wait.
No, we're just hypothetical. Don't freak out.
I think Lucas relative to what you call it, the Emma to Chorus subgroup, like is he that much worse or is he? Because technically he has offensive pressure, he has the AoE drops, he has a terrain, albeit a not particularly reliable one, but it's there, and he has special attack buffs as well, which synergize excellently with Leon in particular. I think Leon is the biggest beneficiary of
I didn't know
Lucas in general.
he. I just noticed that his special attack is actually AoE.
Yeah, it is. They all have an AoE type of buff.
Yeah, like Chris is crit,
Yeah.
Leroy
And
is
what
speed,
is yeah,
and
Lyra is speed. Yeah.
Lucas is special attack. So, like, do you kind of bump him to A or A plus now, as it should be called?
Yeah,
So,
sorry.
now his
Well,
gauge isn't
let's
even that bad
have a
either.
question for Rotan. How high can you see them potentially compared to those units there? Just potentially.
I think they can go like as high as with them, like
Mhm.
maybe the upper part of A plus. Not necessarily that they should go there, but I
No,
could
yeah,
see it.
that's why I was asking. I mean, I could see Lyra around Parerina gets this. Like, if you think about it, she's relatively similar to, she does bring team speed. Instead of the paralysis, she brings the speed of drops, and she still
It's not
retains
Spadef
her
drops.
nukes. What?
Lyra doesn't give Spadef, it's I think attack speed
Has fake
Bro,
tears.
she has fake tears.
or fake tears, right? I forgot.
Literally.
Right, I forgot.
And I think, you know,
Forgot about fake tears actually. Fake tears is quite large. Yeah, I think I agree that Lyra is better than Ballerina because I'm pretty sure she also outscales because Rain is balanced. I think another thing about Lyra is again,
No,
Lyra is
she
the
shouldn't
only.
outscale because like if we're going there, Serena does have a rebuff too.
oh yeah, I also wanted to mention something about Lyra because I just thought about it the other day. She's probably one of the best partners. I mean, SS Chris still exists, but she's a great partner for Kyogre because she'll take the nude and keep the rain up, bring him speed F drops and add her own damage and gauge. And she's also able to tank decently well if you need it. So yeah, just saying in case it wasn't mentioned in anyone's mind.
I don't think it's that relevant, but I
She's
think
great
the thing
to
about
Cyrus as well.
I think the thing about Lyra to me is that she has the most cohesive grid. Like she's the only evolution amongst Chris and Lucas that can actually get all her steroids in one build, while they have to pick. And she also has the most diversity. Like she can play full tank, she can play hybrid, she can play full offensive, while the other two can't. So I think there should be a gap between Lyra and Lucas Chris. But at the same
Mhm.
time, should Lucas have a gap relative to Emma and Colress? Because as a
Yeah, yeah,
special
yeah, yeah,
defense
yeah, yeah, yeah.
dropper, it's like
No, no,
that's
no.
Well,
the issue.
Lucas is more expensive in Gauge, which
Yeah.
is a big thing we talked about then.
No, 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 no. I wouldn't.
I mean, it's not that bad, I would say. Like, you also speeding sun if it's really a problem, and
No, but still,
mm,
I don't like the association you're making personally. I don't see it quite.
it is quite hard to associate them with something. But
I think for me, around the start of the A tier for both is cool. Do we want them above SS Leaf, her being sandwich, or her leading the tier? What do you
I
guys
don't
think?
think Chris
Lucas
should sit above
above
Leaf.
Yeah,
and Chris below.
so this way.
Yeah, because Chris feels like borderline DD with crit, right? I think that's just kind of
Yeah,
because
I mean,
like
true.
like she's still hybrid, but like for the most part, she's the most offensively inclined, with most of her utility being the crit and the electric terrain
And
rather than.
personally, when I know maybe it's not the best, but when I look at them, I like the little gaps that they have, like SS Lyra being a little better than them, so gets his sandwich there. He's a little better than Chris, so gets
We'll probably have
sandwich
to look
there.
at it again. Like this is just an initial draft. We'll probably have to look at this again
Yeah,
because
for sure,
it
for
doesn't
sure.
look like the top side looks satisfactory for the most part, but like this evolution sandwich is not really nice at the moment.
Well, I find it nice.
I think it's
I
bad.
mean, what do you want, Ropalme?
uh, I say that I don't think it's bad at all. I'm
Yeah,
fine
same.
with that distribution.
It's not wrong, but like I think we can do better. But like that's just
Yeah,
me being
we can
OCD.
always do better. That's something very tautologic to say.
Yeah, it's very OCD. I'll just rethink about it after that. Let's not forget about the SSN because I had no idea
Yep.
where
I was
SSN
about
would
to
stand.
say.
That
I
was
mean,
very true.
I just did close it as it is, but I don't think it should go that below. You know, at some point it's still.
No, I think first question I want to ask is how much worse do you think he is relative to Getsis? That's an important
I don't
question
think he
because
should be
what they do
compared
is
to
very
Getsis.
Why do you compare him to Getsis? Just so I know.
because they do
Because they
almost
are
the same
ice.
thing. No, because they scale the same. They provide the same status. They provide the same debuffs. They have the same sufficiency as well. Well, ends is better, but like
No, and it's
you get the
better.
deal. Like the main
Yeah,
I
difference is mostly
completely
sync time.
disagree.
I don't think they're that
I
comparable, but does
Yeah, but
that
even as
help
a general
compare?
unit, do you think?
Do you have a point besides that? Does that help or ranking?
I mean, point being, like, do you like in terms of a general power level, think that he's clearly worse than Getsis and shouldn't sit like beside or somewhere else with him?
Yeah, I
Like,
think
is
he's.
that kind of quick?
Yeah, I do.
Then okay.
His main problem, like, because even if you want to compare them, it's just that on what it tries to do when you look at the B noble roll thingy, in terms of what he's trying to do with that, is kind of uncohesive. Not uncohesive, but like, it's
Just the
kind of
juggle.
weird.
The value for the juggling is not.
And the juggling is. I like that he compensate with that, of course, but you know that still means it only it's one turn out of two. I like him. I like him probably more than what people are starting to say is trash or whatever. I don't think it's quite over exaggerated, but you know I like him kind of there, similarly to Karen, something like that. I don't know. We,
are saying much below that.
yeah, I know you probably hate him way more than that, but
What is
honestly,
the
No,
collective
I say that
range on
like I
him
don't
anyway?
see the community. You say that like the community is hating him lower. Like people are hating on him, but I don't see him like worse than Sydney being said.
yeah, but people don't necessarily have Sydney there in mind, so keep that in mind, I guess. But yeah, you're right actually. Plus, they probably don't rank the EV as high, so I don't know. Actually, you might be right. Honestly, I don't know at this point. How high
Like
can you guys see him?
I saw some people saying like the lowest was below that, but like Malo low. But I saw
Okay.
people putting Malo higher than that. Like
Yep.
people generally don't put Malo below Lycia, for example. So
Yeah. I mean, it's not very relevant because you know they have Cynthia, the Lysia way much lower, but the rest of the units are similarly ranked. So what? What do we do
like
with that guy? What do we do with him? I'm lost.
I don't think B Noble
We
Roar is
wait.
good
You wait
at
and
all, but
Yeah, but the rest
uh,
of the pair is kind of good.
no, I think the rest of Parry is also
most of the
bad
pair is
because
still flawed.
like
It's too
what I do
expensive.
think
Let's
that
Ropalme
people
speak
don't
first.
mention is his sync acceleration capabilities because
Yeah.
one thing that I think he really wants is to be paired with either Red or Ani Haihan because
Yep.
they can both make him consistently have 2-turn sync cycles.
Yep.
Unlike any other partner that may have, like I see people put him alongside Gates, but I don't think Gates is his best partner either.
No, I agree with you. Using his sync acceleration, I mean, not using it like it doesn't do it alone, but using him with pairs that would help. Plus, you did mention Ryan and Red would be able to refresh him, like for which is great. But even the other ones won't make it like spammy. But you know, at some point the stage is dead, anyways. So you know, you don't necessarily need huge refreshable sync
Yeah, but
acceleration.
without that, I think he becomes quite worse.
No, I
too,
agree.
because
I agree. But you were just mentioning.
like his damage
I think we.
not good.
I don't think.
There are single turn moves that still out damage him. So his sync nuke is also problematic. Without the attack being -6, it's not a good tech nuke. It hits like a
He
striker
gets
nuke, but
outskilled, I
single
I
guess.
think I would
targets.
prefer him on a kind of utility damage dealer than focusing on the sync nuke personally. That's how I will probably use him if I get him. You know, kind of trying to axle and have this freeze shock going in, but let someone else
I
sync
think at the end of the
during the
day,
down times.
I personally don't nuke with him at all because
Yes,
he also has the freeze shock charge, and he can't nuke when he's charging.
exactly. That's what I meant. So you can use the downtime to have the sync, and then the charge gets buffed by next support, for example, or whatever, which I think is nice personally. But I'm a bit less like critical on charge move or weird stuff like that. So just take it as it is, I guess.
Well, the problem is that his charge move is not that strong at all. Like I know it's Zygarde, but Zygarde with a single turn move out damages him.
I mean,
So
come on, Roland, you're talking about Zygarde. let's
I
let's
know
let,
it's
let's tune it
Zygarde,
down a
but
little bit. I mean, I understand because you're most on the Peepee thingies, but to me it's kind of unfair. It's like literally one of our top damage dealer in the game, so it does sound quite
yeah,
harsh to. We are talking A
and,
tier of hybrid, not Uber tier of
yeah,
damage dealer there.
and the other problem I think is that like he doesn't have much synergy with other pairs. Like which pair would say, "Oh, I want SSN as my partner"?
Yeah, fair enough.
Like he's
I think
not
it's gonna be quite
at least
complicated
spammable like
to
Sydney.
to accurately rank until we get a bit more, well, first seeing him in action and toying with various stuff. So I know we're gonna fuck up the placement anyways. So what do
Yeah,
you
the
guys
main problem
suggest?
is that I don't see people commenting about the sync acceleration at all. It's like they think it does just make us like Fist Shock is like a one-turn move, but
No,
they
yeah.
don't see the
No,
actual
because
acceleration potential.
it's -2. It's not just component. It's not -1. So I agree with you. And
Yeah, it's a
I'm a
net -1. You do get
exactly,
acceleration, but I don't see
exactly.
people commenting on that.
I mean, people are people. So I don't know. I'm high on sync acceleration stuff. So, plus the more we have in the game, the more, you know, like, I mean, how many head start pair do I have on my roster? Like, if I just net 3-5N, it's whoever head start pair makes it a turn skip.
Oh yeah, I also think he like it doesn't hurt his placement, but I think he's a pair that wants 4 copies instead of 3. So
What does it? Yeah, but it doesn't hurt the placement. What do you need with it? I didn't check on it.
picky readiness
Pick readiness,
because
yeah.
it's a 40% multiplier because his damage
Yep.
gets actually really
Yeah,
bad
pretty good.
without
Yeah.
like
No, yeah, I'd say that.
like it doesn't even need to be Zygarde. You get like Cyrus out damage him with one turn moves.
Okay, Robam, where do you rank it? Rion, where do you rank it? Did Rion left the call? I don't see him anymore.
Did he? Oh wait, yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
he's
didn't
not
note
there anymore.
out of.
And
I
he
think
probably
he has
lost
a
connection.
first placement. Yeah, I think he has a first placement. That spot is where I would go with him.
Well, then that's
Because like
kind of cool.
to give him that, he is good on legendary arenas.
Yeah. That's the only place where Binobo roll is useful.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think they kind of messed up with that. Let's be honest. Wait, he can use it
the
multiple
weirdest part
times,
for
right?
me.
He can use it multiple
Oh, yeah?
times, right?
You can use it multiple times, but you need to charge a
Yeah,
freeze
that takes
shock each
forever.
time you
Yeah,
use.
I know it takes forever, but I was just like, trying to hypothetically
And like attacking once every
every four
3 turns
turns. Yeah, three
is.
turns. Yeah, I mean hey. That's super. I'm interested in getting, just to kind of meme around a little bit. Like, I know it's not too
Yeah,
good, but
I wanted to showcase his sync acceleration,
yeah,
but like,
same.
uh, man, if I got him, I would want a 4 out of 5, and I don't want to make that
No,
investment.
I won't invest. I will just, play with base kit.
And I want his theme too, because the decisive battle end is great.
No, without me. Can you join?
Just give me a minute.
Yeah, but you can just join vocal and text. It's fine. Coolio. So I assume you would
Okay, I'm
put
back.
you. Okay. Sorry. Uh,
Were you saying something?
no, I'm kind of talking with Ryan. Uh, should be fine. That's okay. Yes, I wanted to ask. So you would put him with the yellow subgroup still, I suppose?
Maybe orange.
Because initially I preferred orange just to give him a little credit, But like to me it's fine this way.
Yeah, I think orange. It's hard to rank him because, especially for a
Yeah.
Poké Fair, it has been a long time since we got a Poké Fair that bad. So,
Yeah.
but I think orange is fine.
Okay. I think actually the distribution is fine, to have a kind of a peak there. I don't think I really want them to drop. Unless you really feel that's necessary, but
No, I think it would be weird to
yeah,
have
like
the setter separated.
exactly. I think I'm not gonna touch too much on that because we kind of discussed last time with text and stuff, and since Dark and Ryan are not even there, I'm gonna put a note like for later.
Yeah, we also got no new supports outside of Logi Elisa, so
Yeah,
old
we did.
pairs are
We are
harder
gonna.
to change.
Yeah, we're gonna check that together. We did talk earlier. I don't know if you saw the chat, but we did talk earlier with Ryan and Dark. So we are mostly done with utility.
Yeah, and generally it supports who make the changes for other tiers, so
Yep.
a month without supports is a month that has some small changes.
Where would you put Clay, just to wrap it up?
I have to recheck his kit. I didn't look too deep.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ryan was like, oh, just put him above ground or something, so I don't even know at that point.
oh,
How is it called?
I know he gets like better speed drops and some
Yeah.
damage stuff, but
You get better speed drops and basically multipliers around his speed and stuff. He gets like it's weird because honestly, what are you gonna do with him? You're gonna use Courtney to power him up and she still be better than him in the comp at the end.
oh, pairs, why didn't they give him Cakewalk?
Yeah, they didn't. It's like what the fuck. They gave him
Like they gave a right hand Cakewalk, and right hand couldn't even drop speed originally.
Yep. Yeah, that's. Also, Ryan did mention the potential niche of tanking with endure effect. So I think it's not too bad to group him with those people that are kind of share similarity in that aspect.
Yeah, just go in above Grant and you can pair him with the others, but I think even Norman does the tanking parts better
Yeah,
since he has heals.
I mean we'll review clay placement towards the end. Mhm. No, that's cool. Honestly, I thought we would struggle more. I'm happy that we are valuing the EVs. I thought you would be holding off a little more, so I'm glad. Uh, maybe get this I need to double think personally, because I'm really not sure if it's more there or more there. Or there is fine.
I think
Focus
there
that.
is fine, or with Lucas.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if I consider Lucas or Getz is better, but
Yeah, I don't want. I think I don't want him higher. I know Ryan does, but hey, I'm very surprised by Colways, by the way. Didn't really grasp it.
yeah, I saw people saying Chorus is bad, but
I
like
mean,
his
the
kit
TL
is
group
very
only.
busy, but
The TL group even wants him in utility, like he has no nuke or something. I was like, guys, please.
yeah, I was actually surprised by that. Like his nuke actually deals good damage, and
Yeah.
it's not hard to set up. It's just Towering Force, which he self bust, and Static Shock 9. Like he nukes well.
Yep. So let's do utility real quick because we did some arrangement earlier with Ryan and Dark. Uh, those stuff didn't change.
Uh,
And before we move on, maybe did you want to revise a little bit, Alistair? I kind of like this placement, but you
I'm a
want
bit
Melody
lower
lower.
on. I personally would prefer Melon close to Alistair and Jasmine above both.
Yeah, which is fine to me. Honestly, I don't know too much. It's fine. Only thing I know is I prefer those two, and I like Falkner ending with Alistair. So it's whatever order we put for those two.
Yeah.
I think Sleep is still kind of a bit too broken for me to, kind of not consider utility draft. I'm gonna note it. Might as well. Melanie vs SC Jasmine. I'm gonna keep my order, but ask for the others. This way, it's more clear. So what did we do? It was around there, and he told me he discussed with you already about just
Uh,
rearranging a little bit. So we bumped Sabrina and dropped Phoebe while bumping Glacia to be around Phoebe and Phoebe, sorry, and Pierce.
yeah, I cool with those changes. I still think like Pierce is better, but I'm mostly
Ryan
cool with
too.
those.
I'm the one holding off on Pierce getting higher, so Pierce higher in his group. And this is where all these start to differ a little bit. I kinda didn't want Elisa to be too far off those two, even though those two are clearly better in my opinion, but I didn't want her to go too far off them. And we did
Uh,
drop DON again because honestly, why not?
he's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that because like Elisa is really similar to Cynthia, but without the acceleration,
Yeah.
so she goes a bit lower.
She kind of takes the mix of those two while not being as good as them, kind of, in my opinion. So it's kind of.
Yeah.
So she does bring accuracy, which is a niche stat that sometimes you need. I mean, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's a niche that she has. We didn't change much. Shot the
Cynthia
press.
boosts accuracy too.
Oh, I completely forgot.
Uh,
Cynthia is pretty cool, to be honest.
yeah, it was pretty weird because it really looked like they just took the move gauge acceleration from Cynthia when making Elisa's buffs.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Hey, maybe one day Loach pairs will get EX. That will be cool.
Yeah, I think they have quite some potential.
Yep. Yeah. So we did discuss Jaren real quick. We do find him still a little better than Drake, all in all, but just there.
Yeah, no, I say Drake too because like they're both pretty bad. They
Yeah,
just
they
got
they fucked
10
it up.
sharp
Yeah.
entry, but it's like Drake has the SPDF buffs,
Mhm.
while Charing
I like the
has
region.
some other stuff like the team regen,
Yeah.
while Drake is just single target.
And you can drop def if you want to use them this way as well. Might be a
Yeah.
little more gauge costy, but I don't know.
His full heal can also heal by a bit. It's not a great heal, but it's like mist.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's cool there. I think that's fine. So, as a result, I just did kind of bump a little bit M cheek to be more with those and keep the tiers a little clean. But honestly, that's about it. Like, don't think.
Yeah, utility barely changes.
Yeah. Glacia, bit significant. And I'm gonna send this. At dark. Okay, cool. So I did mention we did start in damage dealer with Rion earlier, rearranging slightly those tier and ranking rocks in the process. So if you want to look at it, and let me know if you see stuff that you want changing and just like that.
It's mostly Elena because I think Elena is quite worse than that, but
Yeah, we are.
especially considering how the other single target nukers are ranked. So
Yeah, I don't know. Dark and I like way more than you, and even Ryan. But I'm still a little. I mean, let's know her, but
yeah, I don't know. She just to me she feels like a Fantino with more setup. So
uh, yeah, I mean, that's not wrong per se, but I think it's me valuing that she can para, she can do DPS or nuke or kind of hybrid stance. I can
yeah,
see
that's
I
why
can see
I
Fantina
was
going.
actually surprised when you guys said damage dealer because I thought you guys would rank it her hybrid, but
Yeah, but it's not like quite in. Yeah, she's still. I mean, I wouldn't mind ordering them this way, if you really want. But I don't see her like dropping subgroups, for instance.
yeah, it's fine. I won't keep insisting. So
Yeah. No, but I did rethink about Fantina the other day and didn't change anything. But you probably know the Kels, but even since on our grid she has a lot of sync tiles, not that you're gonna sync with her, but just to compare the ranges, she can actually, she has a decent burst, I suppose. Like decent, just decent.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, you can do decent sync damage with her
Yeah.
if you truly need it.
Which you won't, let's be honest, but
Yeah.
her Shadow Ball probably hits harder than Elena, unless I'm wrong.
Um, it should hit a bit harder, not very much, but
Okay.
it doesn't need as much setup either because
Yeah.
she doesn't need
Yeah,
the
that's.
paralysis and the drops.
Yep. But yeah, I did enjoy much more Elena than Naomi when I tried both. Uh, and I did try Elena off type and this girl on type, so I was like, actually, she's better in my opinion. Maybe one thing to note is Ryan kind of pushed to have those two fuckers drop quite a lot as a result of rearranging. I don't know if
Yeah, I'm
you.
fine with it.
Okay. Yeah, you did mention that you wanted Sycamore to drop anyways, right? Okay, then fair enough.
Like, if anyone would be a bit above, it would be Gardenia, but Sycamore is
Yeah.
fine there.
Okay. I suppose that leaves us with the new and upgraded ones.
Yeah, Hilda's position is pretty clear to me, but not her subgroup because you only have 3 subgroups. If you had 4, I think it would be very easy to rank her. But I think she is worse than Steve and Serena and better than Lusamine and Lucas.
Okay. For me, it was a pretty simple there, but grouped with those two. Even if she's, I agree, I understand what you meant by that, but if we have only 3 subgroup, I think the separation of Ash and the separation of those makes more sense. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, if you have to group her. She's closer to Steve and Serena than
yeah.
she is to Lusamine, so.
I was actually wondering
But
if she wasn't even better than Serena, but I do trust your judgment, so I'm not gonna.
no, she is clearly worse than both
Okay.
Serena and Steven.
Okay. What is it like? The range is lower in general, or?
She's all around worse, and like they can do similar things, but Serena can do all of them at the same time,
Yeah.
while Hilda has to choose. But
Also,
her nuke
Hilda,
does lead.
let's mention that Hilda is an tech pair, if I'm not wrong, so she doesn't AoE you. No, she's a striker. Wait.
She's a striker.
Oh, okay, my bad, my bad. I thought
Uh,
I did messed up. There
But
was
like,
too many
she can
techs.
get the physical move up at the start. She can get the propulsion. She can get the sync nuke, but she nukes less than Serena. Her DPS is lower than Serena.
Okay.
Serena has her physical move up and the head start innate, while Hilda has to choose from her grid and drop some other stuff. So she is all around worse than Serena. She has no master passive too.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. All right. Yep. I mean that's fine around this range. I think the others won't necessarily disagree. Okay, wait, just give me a minute. I'll be back in just a minute.
Sure.
I'm back. Cool you. I guess that leaves up to Anne and Chris to be ranked.
I think N improved quite a lot.
I agree.
His damage is like really good now, and he can self buff crit.
Yeah,
So
reliably.
his sync nuke is also sure crit now, similar to Metagross, but actually doing a lot more damage.
Wait, from where? Did I miss that?
His training move gives sure crit. He has follow through. Right below the center.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't notice. Oh, so that's pretty cool to use this line if you need
To
the...
combo with a
Yeah.
Fox Rush.
Nice. Okay, yeah. How high do we bump him? I feel like it fixes him very well. Like it didn't change too much, but it's like
Yeah, and
kind
like
of the perfect
he,
fix. Even this
yeah, and
does
if
help.
you say, oh, I don't need those buffs because I have Hilbert, then like his damage also got a lot better. It's
Yeah.
like
I mean, static boost was a pretty nice addition.
yeah, his damage is similar to like SC Emmet now, both
Okay.
in Sync Nuke and in DPS. His condition is a bit worse because
Yeah.
it's paralysis. He is lucky because Thunderbolt already exists, but
Yeah,
that's
most of
after
his
fixing him. But
most of his partners will provide him with what he needs, so that's saving grace, I suppose, for him. But do you want him like in A plus, S minus? I don't know the branches and stuff like that, so I'm gonna need your input there.
Not A plus. I think he's very clearly better than A plus.
Okay.
He's at least S minus.
Damn.
I think his range like is overall better than Leon's at the moment. Leon still has better DPS, but not much better, and his sync nuke is clearly better.
Yeah. And the self-sufficiency is now better, which I can't believe I would say that one day. And self-sufficiency is good. So you
Like if
put
you
him
want to
like
have
that?
an idea for N, you can just look like SC Emmet's damage. They're very close.
Damn. I do still kind of prefer like SCM at bringing the Coach Axel and the self-buffing flexibility that is different from N, but that's good. That's good. So maybe even in the orange subgroup, like
Yeah, I see the potential for him to be between his summer self and Lily.
yeah, okay,
Because he also has the piercing blows innate
yeah,
to
that's
help.
true. That's
Like
true.
he actually is good on Gauntlet now because his main problem before is that like, oh,
He
he has
needed
piercing
all the
blows, but
supports. Yeah,
yeah. Uh, the one problem he still has is that his gauge is
it's Gouge.
atrocious.
Yeah, still the Gouge issue, which. If you compare Lily, she's not that much better in terms of Gouge anyways. So you're like, which
Yeah,
one do you
Lily has
prefer?
like double his speed, but she's not an exemplary. And like Ant's passive in Sync Freebie is probably better than Rejuvenate.
Yeah. Ah, it depends, I guess. But yeah, fair enough.
If you can Kiwi
Yeah, if you manage to Q
between
before the
Rejuvenate,
trigger, yeah,
yeah.
it's clearly better. But if you can't, plus her sync is less. Like if she doesn't have on type, I assume her sync is worse than N, right?
Her Sync is like if Yen doesn't get any paralysis.
Yeah.
So and
However,
with
I think a
paralysis,
birthing profile and extra. I'm gonna put it just below her for now
yeah, that's cool.
and check with the others. And position range subgroup of S minus. I'm gonna put this in order. Cool, yo. I mean, honestly, I don't mind at all. Chris, we were considering a very big buff for her, to be honest.
Yeah, her damage is quite a lot better in terms of sync nuke.
She got
Her own
everything.
type DPS is also pretty good, but her DPS off type is not good,
Mm-hmm.
and she has the self buffs now. It's still not the greatest buffs because they are dispersed, but
Yeah, but like she got fixed like so perfectly, you know.
yeah,
I
compared to her base kit is very bad, so how
yeah,
much better she got is insane.
yeah. Totally. I know Ryan mentioned even like BA comparison. Not sure if I want
Yeah,
that high,
I
but
didn't mention to Rion, but I actually mentioned on Reddit card that I could see her going to around beer too.
okay. That's fair enough. I personally agree. Like, I think having her with B and Hilbert, like we share similarities. So, just not sure. Maybe keep him B above, I guess.
Probably. Bia is more independent.
Yeah.
And like Chris is a bit annoying because uh, the range supports are not the best for her,
Yeah,
especially because she
that's
can't
our
use
main
the
problem.
actual range support.
Well, soon I suppose she'll be able to to use herself,
Yeah,
but for
just gotta
now,
wait 1 month.
yeah. Yep. Cool. Yug, or however
Uh,
it's pronounced. I did look at
I
the
don't know,
kit.
it's Hugh, Hug.
Yeah,
Actually, I think it's Hugh.
Yug. Yeah, maybe. I think he's not that bad, if I'm being honest. Like,
His damage is very great. It's like Sun Cygnus with red damage, but he dies.
yeah, yeah, but I think like Rion was concerned by the coin flip passive, which I agree, but between having this, one-time saving grace, having the 50-50, and then you have so much like raw power that are you gonna just not end the stage quickly anyways? Like,
Yeah, I think he changes a lot between game modes. Like, I think he's a
agree.
fantastic pair for
MM?
Champion Stadium,
Yeah.
but bad
Bad
for
for
Legendary Gauntlet and Extreme Battles.
I agree. I totally agree. Uh I don't know, I was thinking around those ranges. Is that too high for you?
No, I think maybe around Barry.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Sync Nukers group, kind of like above him. You would put?
I think so. I don't think he's as good as Elisa or Hilda because
Mm-hmm.
those are a lot more usable on other modes.
Well, to be fair, what might happen there as well would be this, because of all the
Yeah, that
changes there.
works too.
I'm not sure quite yet. I'm gonna register it a little bit, but that could be.
It might actually even be good because the Argent subgroup would be huge otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I don't know. She could be there. Ah, I'll think about it more. So you would solo him if we were to use this route? Or would you group those three? Like,
I think you group the 3 nukers.
this way?
Yeah, I think that's better.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine with me. How do I arrange? Alder stays there, right?
I don't think Alder got much better with Genesect, but...
Oh yeah, there was a buff for him. No, I was about to say, do I rearrange and put him there, but I think it would be unfair to drop. So I guess yeah. Those I don't think I want them to end A+, so I would keep this way. Do we want Leon to start A-? Not
I
necessarily.
prefer him on A-, just for making it look better. Because I don't think he's that much better than Guzma.
Mm,
I don't mind him being
there
both
is
for the freeze.
there is the utility aspect that I personally value, but I do get your point. So this would be this way. It's kind of weird to have this guy ending solo and this girl ending solo. I'm gonna keep it this way for now. But
Much else to
I'm
do?
sorry. What? Oh yeah, no.
I don't think there's...
Yeah, I don't think there needs much change. I think just for subgrouping facilitation, that would be the way to go. So this way we can have. I would group those three.
Sure, would go the other way around. I think Gloria is better grouped with Hilda, and Hilda kept below.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's a good point. That works too. Like this way, and grouping them, and then this orange subgroup stays this way, and boom. No, that works. I am fine with that. Maybe if I want to keep those a little shorter, I could do some little bumps, but I don't want to force it. Like, potentially Gladion would be there and those end. But let me keep it this way and just try out something. Wait, I need to keep the nodes up. And position treats joining. We didn't rearrange anything else. Hugh leading. Cool. So what did I want to try? Just for visual purpose. This. That's kind of awkward. Maybe, I don't know. Do you think it's better? Like this way or this way? I mean, subgroups pending.
I think that one looks better visually, but I think the other reflects better the pairs.
Yeah, it's a bit more indicative, I think, yeah. Don't want to force a change. Especially since we did revise all of that earlier, so I think they're fine this way. But I think this little bump to separate here was a good point. You do prefer Hilda over Elisa? I did reverse them in the process, but still not sure.
Neutral towards either one because Elisa has the sure crit, Hilda has a bit better damage.
And good partners, but I mean, she has good partners too. No, I'm gonna keep my order. That's fine. I like also the Paralysis niche for LA. Like every LG, I just use her with a Spark build, Paralysis, and Sync Nuke with her, and it works totally fine. Like, you know, Hilda needs a bit more of my resources to be working. Okay, cool.
And Elisa has the benefit of being partnered with Thunderbolt Red of all pairs. So.
Yeah. Can I get a screenshot? Or them? Draft. Hilda joins. Ta-da. And Dark Rion. Oh, it's so annoying to ping with this fucking
his name
username. Cool.
My keyboard can't type that.
Yeah, exactly. I need to like select him manually or whatever. Cool. That's one thing done. Obviously nothing locked yet. I really like the distribution of hybrid. Like it looks very clean to have this cascading up and down. Yeah, cool. Is there anything you want to add or tackle or whatever?
This month, no. I still think like the utility subgroup cut on tier 1, tier 0, I mean. Was a bit weird, but
yeah. I genuinely prefer it, but you know, I can understand that, especially since you're a huge fan of red, so I understand it. It's kind of awkward for you.
No, it's more that like I think there's the 7 that are really better than the others, and like now you have 5 and the other 2 together with that. I think SS Down is clearly the worst of the 7 because I got her to 3 out of 5 recently, but I don't find her like I think her sync acceleration is good, but it's like a lot more limited than Reds. I was trying to do some teens and I can't do nearly as many teens with down than with the others.
I think I still prefer to Red, but it's kind of a bias of how much I use her more than him, and I understand where you're coming from. I could revisit, but I don't. You know what? Maybe on my spare time, I will try to do a rebump and see if arranging the list looks with something clean. Maybe, who knows?
I'm not sure if I like Cynthia separated from them because Cynthia is a bit weird. She has some great teams, but her B move, I still don't like the B move activation.
Oh yeah, it's not much for B move, yeah, but actually it's weird because I rolled head start on her, and now I have 3-5, so I have another head start. And it's just so easy to complement, -1 now that I'm like, oh, it's a sync accelerator, but it's not really one. Like, I,
I do that too, but
yeah. But I mean,
I have head start on mine too.
it made it very much more clear to user in a good way. I'm not sure how to phrase that, but it made her look way better for me than before.
No, I think it made her like it works better the stuff like Ingo more than Chris because it's
Yeah.
fun because they are really good because of the fit effects, but they are the worst in terms of sync acceleration than
Yep. Yeah,
the
true.
other four.
I'll consider doing a brush of link kind of. Plus, I know you are very high on red. I'll ask the other as
Yeah,
well. I really just like
mostly
the threading.
because sync acceleration is something that gets better over time instead of
Yeah.
worse.
Just I don't know with red I mean, either I use like kind of power team that anyway don't need much. I just feel like in the long run, you kind of struggle a little with. I mean, it can be said for SS Dawn as well, but you kind of struggle with gauge when the thing starts going on. It depends on the teams, I suppose, but
I also felt like his gauge is similar to that of Synth and Brandon, so
it's true that Brennan doesn't have the best gauge. Let's be honest.
it has a bit better because of Fast Track 9, but it's
Yeah, and the
really not
free
much.
revenge that pops kind of frequently, I
He has
think.
free revenge, but Red doesn't really attack using gauges, and
Yeah.
his trainer move is really long, so he generates just by animation.
Yeah, that's fine.
Especially as he also gets to regen in case you do need to attack.
Yeah.
And
To be
like
fair, I also
you
don't have
mentioned,
3-5 red, which has also adrenaline on top of all he has, if I remember correctly.
yeah, he has adrenaline, and that's the other thing I was going to mention because I also use like stuff like Cynthia down has a sync accelerator, but when I use red, I use him for like uh, 2 syncs in
Yeah,
3
two
turns.
double
So
sync acceleration. Yeah. Though it's a bit more specific to pull off. Like it's not like an automatic thing that he does. You need a certain game plan and to do with it. Well, I mean, with adrenaline, it does work fine. You need some MPR, right?
once a MPR, if you want 2 accelerations.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, yeah. Alright, yeah, I'll
But
consider.
mainly
I'll add
because
it to
we
the notes.
also are getting a lot of like single move for push on 9 pairs. Like Hilda just gotten this update, Ash on the anniversary, uh, and of course like really wants Red to support him. So
Yep,
there's a
yep.
lot of stuff to complete his acceleration now.
Yeah.
It's
I
it's
mean, to
similar
be
to
fair, I
how I
think
felt Brandon got better the last few months because there were a
I
lot of pairs
love
that
Brandon.
wanted.
I just use him like every week. He's so cool to play with, personally.
Yeah, I felt like on release he wasn't that good, but they just kept releasing pairs that want Brandon support. So
Exactly, yeah. Okay, I didn't note in the notes, so we'll get feedback from Dark, Rion to finalize Didi because it wasn't there. I don't think there was much to say on Didi. Like it's like ranking N, ranking Chris, ranking Hugh. That's about it, right? That's all we've done. I mean, ranking Hilda, of course, but
yeah.
who disagree with like top 4? Cool. Let's wrap it up. Was way quicker than usual, probably because we were only 2 at the end, but Also, smaller update. Let's be honest. There was
Yeah.
nothing to do here. The big part was hybrid, which we managed to solve at 3. We'll wait for feedback from others and probably post that tomorrow or whenever we get the feedback. Cool. Well, thanks a lot, mate, and we catch you around.
See ya.
See ya.